sometimes 20 minutes long. So I do this by itself. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to IMR. Let's get it cracking.
As I steered my 6-year-old son through the doors of Chuck E. Cheese. Even though it was just 2 blocks down from my place, this was the first time
Always watch
I
your
was
kids at
visiting
Chuck E.
it
Cheese.
in almost a year. It was a deliberate choice, marking 1 year since the universe cruelly snatched my husband, Anthony, from us. He had worked at this very outlet, a job he took up after abruptly quitting his position at a funeral home. Anthony had been a changed man after an incident involving the embalming of a dead priest. It had changed this cheerful, lovely man to a secretive, paranoid human in a matter of days. Whatever had transpired during that time, he took its secrets to the grave. His tenure at Chuck E. Cheese was tragically short. One fateful night, as he worked the late shift, a grotesque accident with a malfunctioning Chuck E. animatronic claimed his life. Now, a year later, returning to this place felt like a silent homage to him.
This based on a true story? What the fuck? Mom, come here, mother. Why would you go back to the same Chuck E. Cheese where your husband died at, for one? I would move away and take my kid to another Chuck E. Cheese at a different place. Not to the same Chuck E. Cheese that my husband died at. I thought she was saying he worked at an outlet and he was working at a funeral home. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. She kind of confused me.
A bridge to the brief memories my son held of his father. The visit started innocuously enough, with my son's laughter echoing through the arcade. He darted from game to game, his face alight with joy, occasionally pausing to munch down slices of pizza. I watched him, each of his giggles a bittersweet symphony that filled the air around me. I saw reflections of Anthony in him, in his smiles, his excitement, the way his eyes sparkled with each new discovery. It felt like a living memory, a piece of Anthony still vibrant and alive in our son. But in an instant, that warmth turned to ice. I looked away for a mere moment, lost in my reverie, and when my gaze returned to where my son had been playing, he was gone.
Go look for him!
Clawed at my throat as I called out his name, my voice lost amidst the cacophony of games and children's shouts. Desperation drove my steps as I wove through the crowd, my eyes searching frantically for any sign of him. The Chuck E. Cheese staff, noticing my distress, quickly rallied to assist. They were kind, their faces etched with concern, but the growing fear in my heart overshadowed their reassurance.
I'm sorry, guys, for pausing this again. I got something to say. This is sad as hell, bro. Where y'all at? So I would not go to Chuck E. Cheese here. The staff, the people, the citizens, they all bull crap, bro. Who didn't see the kid get missing? Like, what they thought? Bro, like, literally. This why I say the mom should have got up and see where her child at. That's why I be looking for my kids every time I take them to Chuck E. Cheese. I got 4 of them. I always try to be there every single step of the way where they goes. You know what I'm saying? So they won't be missing like this, bro. I don't trust nobody, son. The world is crazy. Bro, R.I.P. to her son.
Evan, a staff member, helped me. We scoured the place, our search turning more frantic with each passing minute. The staff made repeated announcements over the PA system, and some empathetic patrons joined our search, their eyes mirroring my worry. Even the CCTV footage was scrutinized by Evan, but it offered no clues. My son had simply disappeared within the walls of Chuck E. Cheese. As the place began to empty, the atmosphere thickened with an eerie quiet. It was then, in the dimming light and the fading echoes of the day's joy, that Evan made a chilling observation. There were 5 animatronics, a mainstay of Chuck E. Cheese, at that outlet. But when Evan counted, he came up 1 short. One of the life-size Chucky figures was missing. Our search became more targeted, leading us behind the scenes to the staff-only areas where remnants of joy gave way to silent corridors and locked doors. And then, breaking the stillness, we heard it. The unmistakable sound of my son's laughter. It was coming from behind one of the locked doors. We called out to him, our voices tinged with both relief and fear.
Keep the door!
He didn't respond. The laughter continued, haunting sound that seemed out of place in the deserted back rooms. Evan, sensing the urgency, shouldered the door open with a forceful push. As the door swung open with a resounding crash, we stepped into a scene that was as surreal as it was chilling. There, in the middle of the room, sat my son. He was cross-legged on the floor, his back to us, engaged in what seemed like a conversation with an animatronic Chuck E. Cheese. The room was unlike any other part of the establishment.
Yeah, go get your son!
Smaller, almost claustrophobic, with walls adorned with pagan symbols.
They're doing a ritual. You about to sacrifice your boy.
Flickered in the dim light, casting eerie shadows that danced across the walls.
Kick Chucky.
The air was heavy, saturated with a sense of foreboding that made me shudder. Honey? I called out tentatively.
Grab his ass!
A mix of relief and dread. My son turned his face, lighting up upon seeing me, but there was a strangeness in his eyes that I couldn't place.
Mommy! Daddy was talking to me through Chucky!
He explained, pointing at the animatronic figure. His words sent a cold shiver down my spine. Anthony? Speaking through an animatronic? The animatronic itself was unnervingly still, its painted eyes staring blankly ahead. It was a grotesque parody of the cheerful mascot, its presence in the macabre setting.
There you go, grab your son.
Mockery. As I moved to pick up my son, the animatronic's head suddenly turned to face me. Its mechanical voice, unnaturally cheerful, rang out.
Hi, Susan! You look gorgeous as ever!
I froze, my heart pounding in my chest. This was impossible, yet the familiar use of my name, the tone, it was unmistakably Anthony's, but how could that be? The animatronic, now animated with a life of its own, began to speak in Anthony's voice. It told a tale that was as heartbreaking as it was horrifying. Anthony had been haunted by the spirit of the dead priest he had embalmed, driven to set up this secret room for communing with the spirit. But the spirit had been malevolent, seeking a way to break free, leading to the tragic accident that took Anthony's life. Now, as a spirit himself, Anthony had found a way to communicate through the animatronic, waiting a year to speak to our son. The revelation was overwhelming, and I found myself...
AMR, who told you these tales? This based on a true story? I don't believe this shit, bro. I don't know. I don't know. I think I believe it. I don't know.
Drawn into a conversation with my husband's spirit. He spoke of a ritual, a way for him to come back to life. My heart ached with longing and hope. Evan protested, warning of the dangers of meddling with such forces, but I was too consumed by grief and the desire to have Anthony back. But then, a chilling moment shattered the illusion. During our conversation, the animatronic, supposedly channeling Anthony, failed to recall the name of our pet dog, a detail Anthony would never forget. It was then I realized the horrifying truth. It wasn't Anthony's spirit, but the malevolent priest impersonating him. Panic set in as we realized the danger we were in. We turned to flee, but the animatronic lurched to life, chasing us with jerky, unnatural movements. My son clung to me, his cries piercing the tense air as we dashed through the maze-like back corridors of Chuck E. Cheese. The chase was nightmarish, the animatronic's mechanical laughter echoing through the halls as we ran. In a horrifying turn, Evan was injured, leaving me to navigate the...
Bro, wait a minute, back up. This based on true story. Where everybody at? That's another thing. Where is everybody at? We just seen a lot of people in Chuck E. Cheese. What happened to the dude, the manager? Why the fuck he ain't chase after the old boy? This a human. The fuck? I'm sorry, IMR. I know y'all reading something somebody wrote. Wow, bro, you literally saying nobody in that Chuck E. Cheese try to help your ass? You know what? That shit crazy.
Twisting corridors with my son in tow. Soon, the evil Chucky had cornered me and my son. I swear to God, I had almost given up then. All I wanted was for my son to be safe. That's when I saw a reflection in a piece of glass. It was Anthony's spirit. It was a fleeting image, but it gave me a sliver of hope. His spirit guided an axe to fall beside me, and with a surge of adrenaline, I picked it up and swung it with all my might, once and again, severing the animatronic Chucky into pieces. Grabbing my son, we rushed out of the building, the angry howls of the priest's spirit echoing behind us as the lights flickered wildly. We escaped into the night, the horrors of Chuck E. Cheese behind us. But the memory of that night would haunt us forever.
Bro, why would you even go to a Chuck E. Cheese where your husband died?
I was 7 when it happened. My family and I were visiting Chuck E. Cheese, which was once the best pizzeria in town. It was my birthday, and my parents wanted to treat me with the best food and entertainment money could buy within our budget, of course. Now, at first, you might be thinking that I'm the victim of this story. No, far from it. I was only a witness. At the time, it was just my sister and I, along with our parents. Margaret was around 5 years old and had just turned 5 in the afternoon when we pulled up in the car park outside, and the weather was far too cold to stay out in for too long. Once we were out of the car, we hurried inside as a flood of people came rushing out, all walking to their cars. It must have been the entire restaurant that left, as the second we were inside, we realized that it was just us. The restaurant was practically empty. As my eyes scanned over the room, I was quite shocked at the state of the place. There were tipped-over tables, food splattered against the floor, and not a worker in sight to deal with any of it.
Do you want to go somewhere else, Kathy?
My father asked. There's gotta be at least one table still free. Could we have a look? My father smiled.
Of course we can, honey.
Just as the 4 of us started walking, my eyes tracked something moving in the far side of the room. I turned my head to follow it. I was now staring at the face of Chuck E. Cheese himself, his head poking halfway out of a door that read backstage. I felt my skin shiver as it began sinking further and further back into the door, closing it slowly behind him. Suddenly, my ears pricked up at the sound of the animatronics as they began playing a new song, at the same time that my mother called out that she had spotted a table. Found one! We all swiveled around. The relatively untouched table sat motionless in the opposite corner of the room. It was right below the stage and extremely close to the backstage door from earlier. I had another scan around the room, but that really was the best we were gonna get. So, cutting our losses, we all went and sat down.
Ah, that's right. There aren't any workers here.
My father pointed out. I need the toilet, Margaret wailed.
Okay, Catherine, you take Maggie to the toilet, and your mother and I'll try and find some bloody service around here.
And with that, the 2 of them stood up and began prowling the area for signs of life. I took Margaret's hand and began leading her over towards the toilet. To my surprise, the sign for the toilet was plastered right over where the backstage sign had been. Just a few meters away, I saw backstage written on an entirely separate door. I thought I might have just made it up in my head, so I pulled Margaret towards the one that had toilet written across it. On our way, I started to notice more and more about the establishment. The place looked borderline derelict, as if left untouched for years, left to rot. How were people still visiting? As we came closer to the door, I stopped to peer at it. There were these foul and grubby finger marks plastered all over it. I ignored it again. If the rest of the place looked so disgusting, then it was no surprise that the door would be the same. I could see Margaret needed the toilet badly. She was starting to squirm. I took a deep breath, placed my hand on the door, and in we went. It was completely pitch black inside. As I tried to find the light switch, taking Margaret's hand behind me, I led the both of us along the wall, searching for it. We had only moved a couple of meters, but the darkness completely enveloped the both of us, even though the door was still wide open, letting just enough light in for us to see a figure pop up from behind us. The light suddenly cut out as the door slammed shut. Someone was in there with us. I held Margaret close to me, staring at where the door was. A red light suddenly appeared. The face of Chuck E. Cheese, appeared with it. It hovered for a moment, not moving, just staring. After just a few seconds,
how big y'all fucking Chuck E. Cheese is?
I held Margaret even tighter as I began sprinting away in the darkness. I couldn't see where I was going, but any direction was better than the one that led to that thing. The panic blinded me. I ran straight into a wall, almost with enough force to knock myself out. For a moment, I lay on the ground, dazed and confused. Once I regained some sense, I realized that my hand had let go of Margaret's. I went into a frenzy. I threw my body around the floor, begging to find her, but to no avail. Hope was slipping until I heard a shuffling noise emerge from behind me, followed by a muffled scream. Got you. I only had one choice. I leapt up and shrieked as loud as I could. All of a sudden, a stampede of loud footsteps came charging towards the door from the outside. The room filled with light as my parents came storming in.
What are you doing back here?
At that moment, I realized we weren't in the bathroom at all. I was backstage. My parents' eyes soon stopped staring at me when all three of us noticed the Chuck E. Cheese mascot standing in the corner of the room, right next to the exit door. One of its hands was leaning on it, the other clutched hold of Margaret. There was a large gash on her forehead. Her eyes were closed. I turned back to face my father, but he was already charging towards it. In response, the mascot dropped Margaret and threw itself out the door. My dad lost it down the alleyway outside. After that, we called both the police and an ambulance for Margaret. The police investigated the place and found bodies scattered all over. There were a few under the stage, but the main lot were all stuffed behind boxes backstage. Margaret had been this close.
Bro, this is a true story? What is it? No parents ain't trying to look for their children at all? Bro, the mom and dad need their fucking parents' card taken. Bro, where the fuck y'all was at? Y'all ain't trying to look for your daughters? These are little girls, bro. It was me, I would been got up like, where the fuck my daughter at? Bro, this why you gotta carry you a concealed weapon. Cause I wasn't lying. I shot Chucky and dead in his fucking head. He killed the main daughter, bro. What the fuck, bro? What's crazy? Nobody insane. That's why I said fuck Chuck E. Cheese. Ain't nobody said nothing. Seeing these little girls walking in a deep alley, bro. That don't even look like the bathroom. So nobody see these kids and ask their parents like, hey, they went over this way. Bro, what the employees at? They just hire anybody, huh?
Joining them. Shortly after, the police shut the place down. The mascot responsible for it all was never caught. However, the police had managed to find the costume. They reported that it was filled with dried blood and bits of rotten flesh. Nobody knows what happened to the person inside. Our family never returned to a Chuck E. Cheese after that. Every costume could be hiding the murderer. It was only a matter of time.
So did your sister survive? I want to know, did your sister survive?
Nosophobia. Sometimes I wonder how such a rare word,
this
a
is
word
some
that hardly
weird
anyone
ass
knows,
stories. Like,
means so much in my life.
No lie. No lie. It's hard to believe this shit. By being it's true. It's hard to believe the first one, for sure. The second one is believable. Like, that could actually happen. The first one, like, all over the place. Like, I ain't gonna lie, Chuck E. Cheese is full with a lot of people, but nobody's seen shit. How? Shit, I go find my kids soon out there, feel like I lost them. I'm like, let me go see. I tell my oldest daughter, hold your sister's hand every time, because they want to go play. I go check on them every 3 minutes, bro, or a minute. Not even I ain't gonna lie, not even a minute. I be scared, son. I ain't gonna lie. Just to see what happened, that second one got me chill, bro. That's like, bro, none of the parents even try to look for their kids. They only look because of her screaming. Bro, your kid daughter said she had to take him to the bathroom. Why the mother? Bro, did she even tell her parents that? I should have paid attention. Did they even tell the parents that the girl need to go to the bathroom? I'm saying? If they did, I hold the parents accountable. The mother should have took the girl to the bathroom because the older sister didn't know where to go. I hold the parents accountable for that shit. No lie.
Mussophobia is the
I show my kids where the bathroom is.
However, to tell you the truth, my fear is not irrational.
I go in the bathroom with my son.
There was a time when rats didn't scare me. Maybe they disgusted me a little bit, but never fear as intense and as strong as the one I feel now. Do you know what caused this phobia? A sick, disgusting, but most of all, evil being. It all started while I was working at Chuck E. Cheese.
You look like you evil, motherfucker.
I know. An ironic job to start being afraid of rats. The Chuck E. Cheese in my area had a reputation for being a pretty clean place, but that's only what it showed the customers. In the kitchen and basement area, the place was pretty dirty. That wasn't always the case. The place used to be clean and well kept. That all changed when a new manager took over. Make no mistake, the man loved Chuck E. Cheese. He was always very concerned about the place, doing everything he could to keep it running smoothly. The problem came from his personality. We would always see him in strange situations, walking with his head down, like he was hiding something. Many other times we found him spying on us. We were forbidden to call him on the phone or enter his office without having spoken to him first. Besides, something had changed on the premises. We didn't understand why, but the place had gotten much dirtier. The dirtiness of the place coincided with Adam's arrival, but he was not in charge of the cleaning, so it was inevitable to wonder if he had something to do with it. Anyway, as good a cleaner as he was, everything was fine as long as we stayed away from Adam. The only problem was that I accidentally got too close. That day we heard a lot of noises from the basement. The place was usually abandoned. We had no reason to go there other than to check the boiler or water in the place. My team leader told me to go see what was causing the noises, but first I had to ask the manager for authorization. Adam's door was locked, so we thought he was locked in as usual. We knew we shouldn't disturb him at that point. At that point, I decided that I was going to act without the manager's authorization. There was no way I was going to get in trouble, since even a cook like me should have a minimum of autonomy to work. So I simply went down the locked basement that was located in the warehouse. I must admit that once inside, the place looked darker and more imposing. It was as if you took a haunted room out of a horror movie and put it in part of a Chuck E. Cheese. With the darkness rolling around me and a strange feeling that I was making a horrendous mistake, I took my first steps into the basement, and that's when I saw it. At the end of the room, I could see a dark silhouette moving, and it was the cause of the noises. You see, normally, in a situation like this, the obvious decision would be to call security, right? Well, not in my case. There was something else that caught my attention about the silhouette. I could see he had the manager's jacket on. How had he gotten Adam's clothes? Had he stolen it? I approached the man to confirm my suspicions. Was this Adam? What was he doing here? And why was he staring so obsessively at a drawer? Any other person would have noticed my presence, but not him. He was staring at that drawer so obsessively that he didn't seem to notice anything around him. Once I got some distance behind him, I could confirm that it was him. But it was like he was in a trance. Hey, boss. Are you okay? As soon as I touched his back, the man was startled and dropped the box, which fell to the ground. And do you know what was in that box? Rats. The box was full of rats. Dozens and dozens of rats covered the entire basement of Chuck E. Cheese. They were desperate, running from one side to the other, escaping or looking for food. All the rats started running desperately all over my body, while Adam seemed to go into a state of panic and go completely crazy. No! My rats! Come here! Boss? You! This is your fault! You caused this! Boss, I'm sorry. It was an accident. You won't get out of here alive, you know. I always wanted to get my hands on you. On that round little face. I always wanted to smash it. I tried to reason with Adam, but it was impossible. At that point, he was totally out of it. Suddenly, I heard a scream coming from the stairs. It was a coworker. Oh God, what happened? Did you find a rat's nest? No! They're my rats!
Leave them alone! They're mine!
Faced with another person, Adam seemed to forget about me for a moment, and I took the opportunity to run for the exit. Once I got to the door, both my coworker and I panicked at the horrifying sight. Adam was lying on the floor, jumping up and down to grab all the rats that were still running around in his arms. The terrified and hungry rats were biting him in self-defense, but he didn't care. He just kept grabbing them. At our perplexed look, he raised his head and looked at us once again.
What are you doing here? Leave us alone!
And that was all I had to hear. I closed the door from the outside and locked it, when my coworker called security. Soon after, an ambulance came and took Adam away. Rumors spread fast around here, and we soon learned the truth. Adam suffered from a strange paraphilia that made him obsessed with rats. He was the one who brought the filth into the place, bringing and releasing rats to make nests in the Chuck E. Cheese, then putting them in his box and collecting them. Obviously, Adam never went back to work at Chuck E. Cheese, and if the rumors are true, he never went back anywhere, as he began receiving medical help in an insane asylum that day. As for me, I can never see another rat in my life.
Fucking right.
I had to give up Chuck E. Cheese.
Who was he?
Because every time I saw the rat animation, it scared me. I can't help but think of all those hungry rats that scoured my body in desperation.
Shit, they ain't
looking
the
to escape
boss.
from a psychopath who held them captive. Every night I think the same thing. What would have happened if my coworker hadn't gone into the basement?
Your ass would be dead.
I think only Adam knows.
I'm gonna be real. Man, you should. I'm gonna subscribe. I'm gonna be real. This was, the third one was like, the other two was realistic. The first one, I don't believe that shit entirely, but these two is like believable. Okay, you got a crazy ass manager, full with rats. Okay, this is real true story right here. This why you heard what he said. He said something had to happen to his manager as a child to make him like obsessed with rats. You know what I'm saying? Cause like I said, his dad probably could torture him with rats and stuff. I mean, he probably interested in him. You know what I'm saying? That's why I said I don't know. Some people got different like standards with being tortured in certain ways. You know what I'm saying? This shit was crazy. This was like fire as hell. Like, I understand why you scared of rats. I'm gonna be honest, I'm scared of rats too. I'm scared of rats. That's like the most thing I'm scared of is rats. Like real stuff. Rats and, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna tell you the reason why I'm scared of rats. I used to never be scared of nothing. I don't know what made me start being scared of a lot of stuff. I mean like rats and stuff. Now I don't know. I think it's my nightmares that fuck with me. You know what I'm saying? Like IMR, Scary Tales. This was fire. These two, like fire, bro. I still don't believe the first one, but the second one and the third one is understandable. You know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta protect yourself at all costs, bro. The second one, I was about to cry, son. I was about to cry on the second one, though. Like, for real. That hurt me, son. Daughter died, bro. His daughter died, bro. That little girl died, son. This, man, I don't believe it because they said that Chuck E. Cheese dude killed a lot of people, bro. So nobody ain't trying to look for their child or anybody that came to Chuck E. Cheese with or their employees. Nobody ain't trying to look for them. You know what I'm saying? Because with me, I'm like, hey, what happened to Susie? I don't know. She ain't been coming in. I think she's sick. I'm like, you want to check and see if she in here? She probably fell and broke her legs. You know what I'm saying? That's how I be thinking. See, I be thinking like hypothetically. Like, she could break her leg. She probably hurt somewhere and heal. Or she probably died. You know what I'm saying? That's how I be thinking. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm going to see y'all next time. Scary Sunday animation. We out, baby. Happy Memorial Day, you mother lovers. Happy Memorial Day.